Hi, my name's Alicia Highland, and I'm going to share with you something today about the victim mentality. So, it's actually a thing. Um, we fall into it every day. Everybody does. No one is perfect. No one could probably say that they never do fall into it because it's happening left, right, and center, whether you like it or not. But the thing about the victim mentality that can be quite dangerous, so to speak, is when we don't actually move on from it. We get stuck in it, and it can be we can be like the person that ends up having the cloud over their head. They're walking around blaming everything basically. So what I wanted to discuss is what it actually is. So if you know someone who's fallen into this trap, or if you've been in it before, or even if you're in it now, this is what it may seem like. There may be a lot of blaming others, a lack of self-responsibility, a lack of ownership of how we feel and our part in a situation. And that's quite hard to actually connect with sometimes because, well, generally a lot of the time, you know it can be hard to see where we are, where we chose. It can be hard to see the part of the situation that we chose for ourselves within it, because there can be a lot of pain and hurt. So if we are hurting, we're wounded. And so we come from this place of being wounded. So when we come from this place of being wounded, we lack this ownership of how we feel. And we fall into the blame. And then we also lose our own power. So that in itself isn't the best thing, because when we lose our power, we feel like we have no freedom, we have no choice. And the thing about being who we are is being able to choose what we want to do and where we want to be and who we want to be when we want any of that. So when people are in this victim mentality, they're looking for something. They're looking for sympathy. They're looking for people to support them. And on that note, though, one of the things that it does should draw our attention to, for me as a practitioner, it definitely does, is what is it about that what we're looking for that we're not giving to ourselves at this time? So if it is that there's this need for support, then we need to support ourselves. And that's not in just this situation. It would be in several other situations where we can train ourselves to be able to support ourselves naturally. The looking for sympathy, perhaps we just need to cuddle and give attention to ourselves, to care for ourselves, to be kind to ourselves, to say nice words to ourselves. Perhaps that's what we need, and then we might not need to look for sympathy. But the bottom line of the victim mentality is the inability to let go. So when a person can let go of something, it means that it's done. And when we're in a pattern that we can't move on from, we can't let go, we don't move forward, we can't live in the present moment. So what we find is that we become attached to what we had known and how we felt. It's scary to move forward. It definitely is. So having a support network or someone to guide you really can help. And then there's things that you can do for yourself in order to be able to let go of things, do some writing, some drawing, get out in nature. Be with yourself. Really own what you feel. So the inability to let go can perpetuate a cycle, and it can cause a lot of frustration, a lot of anger. It perpetuates this lack mentality. And once we get into this lack mentality, it emphasizes everything as lack. And so we really actually believe that we don't have anything, or we're not good enough, or we're not worthy, or nobody cares. There's just real lack. So all these things, by the way, are good things they're things that we go through as human beings. but they're also signs to then help you shoot into, shoot out of it into something more positive. You need both. You need the negative and the positive in order to be a human being. It's just, there's no doubt about it, really. So when we're in this angry, frustrated, what about me, mentality, then, we can have mood swings. So we can be happy, we can be sad. We just really, really unstable. And it can be really frustrating for us as well as people around us. And then also the fact that it's frustrating for those around us. So, we're getting like the cold shoulder or being met with tension. It just makes it even worse for us again. But the most important thing about being able to let go is that you can move forward. And so when we're in this not able to let go pattern, then we are stagnant. So what happens to water that becomes stagnant? It gets yucky and stinky, and it has things growing in it, and oily film sits at the top and it turns green. So with all that, that's sort of a symbol of what we actually feel. And when we are stagnant, we can't move. We're like stuck in mud, in that water that's gone stagnant. It turns to mud. We get stuck in it. And we feel this moving forward, moving back or side to side. And it's just so much effort to get forward, to get moving. And ultimately, what happens then is we can become really sad. We can become depressed. We can end up in these situations can lead us to depression. So all the more reason to be able to learn letting go. It's so important. And as I said, all these things that one may experience in this mentality are signs to say, come on, you got it. Let's use what we've got and let's move forward. So the only thing is, right, is that when we're in this mentality, we have to choose. It's all about choices mentality. So we need to choose, are we going to keep being in this pattern and let it, manifest as that yucky, stinky, muddy water? Or are we going to try and decide, try and work out why are we here in the first place? And it can be scary, as I said, but it's actually really quite beneficial. The only thing within that is, are you ready to move with it? Or do you still need time to sit and be stuck in that mud? Because that mud time is actually a really, really beneficial, opportune time for you to find out the why of why you're in that mentality. And if you don't find out that why, that pattern's not going to change. There's no ammo for it to change. There's no for it to, there's no realization. And as you probably know, you probably had a friend where you can, they're having trouble with something and you can see what's happening, from the outside you can see. But if you tell them what's happening, they don't actually understand it and nothing changes. But the moment that they go, I get that, everything changes. Same with if you tell your partner, this is how that is, and you're always explaining things, and then they go and hear it off somebody else, and then they come back to you and say, oh, by the way, so-and-so said that, and you're thinking, I just said that. But okay, if that's how you have to discover it, that's how you have to discover it. So what can you do about it? What I find really, really interesting is when people are ready, and this is only when people are ready, is being able to acknowledge the pattern, and then that gives you strength and power to discover how it began in the first place. So everyone has a choice. And when we find out what our part is in a situation where we feel like everyone is to blame but ourselves, we actually take responsibility for what we're experiencing, and we can see, okay, I did this, and this is how it affected me. And because now I acknowledge that I did a part of whatever it was, whatever came back at me is out of my control. You know, it's all cause and effect, cause and effect. The thing is, you know, we can't control what other people do, they say. We just can't control other people. And so keeping that in mind, when we decide, oh, well, I chose this, then whatever comes back, we have to let go of the idea that, you know, there's any part that we have any part within that. We are only responsible for what we did at that time. We are not responsible for anybody else or anything else. But we have to be responsible for what we do and know that there are always pros and cons to things. So once that's established, it's actually quite a relief. It's like, oh, wow, I chose that. And now I understand, now I can be more present in this moment because I can sort of let go of all this baggage. But when you are in the moment of I choose, there's another little step there. And what it is, it's self-forgiveness. So if you're in a situation that you were really quite traumatized, then what happens is once you say, well, I chose that, you acknowledge that, you then need to almost have time with yourself to say, well, I'm sorry for putting you in that situation. I only knew what I knew then. That's it. And that's like having a conversation with yourself, with your soul, with your spirit, with your heart, with your inner child, with you, with whatever, you know. All those things mean the same thing. So, and even God, like all those things mean the same thing. You know, spirit, self, higher self, God, goddess, internal world, inner child, your heart, all those things mean the same thing. So when you have that conversation with yourself, saying, you know, I'm sorry, this is all I knew then, or I'm sorry, or even I probably knew better, but this is what I did choose. Then there is a peace that's restored between you and that part of you that you've hurt, you know, the deepest depths of yourself that you've hurt. And together you become friends again, which is very easy because your inner world has always got your back. And even if you feel like you've left something for a long time, left addressing something within you for a long time, it's always still there. Obviously, the longer you leave it, it can feel more scary. But you have it. You just need the courage to go back to yourself and make amends. And with that, that's a pattern. That's finished then. You've gone, this is what the problem was. I'm no longer a victim because I see how I chose to be within that situation or conversation or whatnot. And yes, things have happened to me or were said to me, but that's not my control because that's how that person has reacted. They need to work on themselves. And then, hey, you know what? I'm really sorry that I put myself in this situation. And then, relief. I'm here now and I'm free to live my life how I want it and need to live it for me. I don't need to carry any of that baggage anymore. I can feel alive. I can enjoy every moment. I can completely surrender to any moment I'm in because that is not worrying me anymore. There's no fear. There's no stress around that pattern because all those patterns do leave subconscious things, traits going on. And I mean, that's a whole nother conversation in itself, but that's what you can do about it. And if you can do it yourself, that's great. You might be able to do part of it yourself and then you might need to see somebody, you know, to help you. And the perfect people for that are mind-body medicine practitioners and holistic kinesiologists. Anyone who works holistically with the body and mind, drawing connections between the two. So that is what I do. I love my job. I love seeing people's eyes light up or, you know, realizations made around these things because once this pattern of acknowledging, saying sorry, living in the present, that means that you actually feel like you have power again. It actually means, it actually is like, whoo, you know, you get so much choice, so much freedom. You actually can step into yourself and not have to worry about even judging yourself. So it's absolutely fantastic. And that's just one of the things. Like, there's so many limiting beliefs, so many psychological patterns going on within us. We're absolute enigmas. We're amazing human beings. Even I work with dogs too. We're all amazing. Any being is amazing. So I'll leave you with that. It's a bit of a long one. If you have any questions or you do want to book an appointment with me, just jump online. I'm on Facebook, so Alicia Highland, and you'll see there's a little ring logo. It says my name in it, and you can book me through there, or you could send me a message, private message, and we can start working through what's actually happening for you. Because don't forget, you know, this sort of stuff that I'm putting out there is perfect for you working individually. It doesn't give you an answer. It's not a general answer for everybody. So everybody is completely unique. Everybody is so individual. And so the work that this sort of work really helps to be quite tailored. So if you do need any help, let me know, or jump online and try and find someone who does the same thing as what I do. So thank you for listening. Have an amazing day.